Hello everybody, Dwayne Huff, founder and creator of Band Leadership Seminars and Band Leadership Online. And in this video, I want to talk about how to finish strong and have the best marching band season ever by getting through that mid-semester slump. Now, you know what I'm talking about. Towards the end of September, early October, depending on how long your season is, the kids start to fade. They start to wane in enthusiasm, and you have to bring it all back together so that you can finish the year strong. But how exactly do you do that? Well, over the last 4 years of doing this with marching bands, with band directors, and with students, I've found a great way to pull everybody back together, to get them refocused, and to help them get reignited so you can finish the marching band season strong. And really, I want to lay out for you a really quick 5-step process that you as the band director can use. Or if you want to pass it along to your drum major and student leaders to roll this out, you're welcome to do that. But I highly encourage you to be the one who leads this process because, well, let's be honest, they're students and their attention span might not be what it needs to be to get through this together. Or if there's conflict, or if there's questions, or if there's pushback that comes back, you want to be in the middle of that, navigating it. But it also helps you as the band director to regroup and build that bond with your students, with your band, so that everybody pulls together, including you. So you're a family, you're a team, and you're a community, as you've always been, but now you're strengthening it so you can push through that mid-semester slump together. So let's do this. Let me share a 5-step process, 5 ways of doing this, a play-by-play that will help you take this, take the bull by the horns and make this happen. So the first thing that we want to do is pull the band together, whether that's in a rehearsal or after rehearsal, whenever it's convenient, or if it's even in a class time. Now, this is going to seem like, wait a minute, Dwayne, we don't have time to be spending on doing this type of activity. But one of my mentors told me one time, he said, Dwayne, you know, sometimes slow is fast and sometimes fast is slow. And the time that you invest in doing this simple activity is going to pay huge dividends as you move into the remainder of your marching band season. So the first thing, whenever you have everybody together, is that as a collective group, go to the board and ask them, and just right at the top of the board, ask them, let's talk about the things that have been challenging or difficult or not fun or downright frustrating or discouraging about this marching band season so far. So basically, you're giving them the opportunity to get their frustrations out. And I know it can be complete chaos because these are students and they're just going to tell you what they're thinking from an emotional space. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing because once they get it all out and they feel like their voice has been heard, all of a sudden it resets their psychology and allows them to feel like, okay, I've got it all out, my walls are down, and now they're receptive to the next part of this process. So collectively as a group, just simply throw it up on the board. What have been some of our frustrations, our challenges, our disappointments, our aggravations? What are some of the things we haven't liked about this season? And just let them get it all out. And then you as a band director can follow it up by picking 1 or 2 things that have challenged you, have frustrated you, and throw it in the pile with theirs. What this allows you to do as a team is come together and be on the same page that, yeah, there's been some frustrating points in this season, and we all acknowledge that. Again, lowering the walls, resetting the vibe. The next thing you want to do is break them up into teams. Now you can do it in sections, or one of the favorite things that I like to do is I say, okay guys, and this kind of mixes it up a little bit, I'll say, here's what I need you to do. Stand up right where you are, and then around the band room over here, let's pretend that this wall over here is January. The wall right behind me, or behind you and in front of me, is June, and this is December. And say, line up in the order of your birthday without saying a word. Now, those of you who have had me in live or taken the online course have seen this in work. It's a lot of fun. So what happens is they end up lining up in the order of their birthday without saying a word. And then whenever they do that, I check them to see how close they are. And if there's anybody who's out of line, I have them move according to their birthday. Once all is said and done, I simply ask them, okay, how could we have approached this? I said, line up in the order of your birthday without saying a word. What were some of the other ways that we could have lined up? And of course, they say things like use your fingers, sign language, write it down. And I say, okay, did anybody write it down? Maybe one or two did. I'll say, what's some other ways that we could have communicated our birthday without saying a word? And they'll start throwing out different ideas, but ultimately what I'm looking for them to say is, well, we could have taken our smartphones and we could have shown it on our calendar, or we could have texted it to somebody, or we could have taken our driver's license or our ID and shown it the date of birth. Now, I know not everybody has a driver's license depending on what grade they're in, but you get the picture. And the reason I do that is to interrupt the pattern and say, okay guys, as we move into the rest of this marching season, if we want to continue to win, and if we want to finish strong, chances are we're going to have to approach this and think about this differently than we have already. Which means that we need to now do the second thing. We need to focus on our wins. Now, the reason I had them line up in the order of their birthday, or the reason you're going to have them line up in the order of their birthday, is because if you want to break them into teams where they're all mixed up and they're not just in sections, it gives them the opportunity to work with people who might not be in their section, who they might not talk to all the time, and who they haven't had the opportunity to connect with. And this is a good thing. Now notice I didn't do this for the frustrations. Imagine me just putting students in a group of mixed sections and tell them, okay, vent your frustrations. That would turn into complete chaos and catastrophe. So I'm managing it, and you're managing it by doing all the frustrations where you have control over it, but now you're going to go for the wins by mixing them up and giving them a chance to work with each other. Now, I invite you to try, if you can, to put one of your section leaders or a leader into each one of those sections. But here's how I would do it. They're lined up in the order of their birthday. I'd simply count them off with however many groups you want there to be. 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the case might be. And I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'd say, okay guys, here's what we're gonna do. Group 1, go hang out over there. Group 2 over here. Group 3 over here. Group 4 over here. And then invest 20 bucks in a sheet of sticky flip chart paper. I like Post-it, which is my favorite brand, but they can write on it and they can stick it. Because here's what they're going to do next. You're going to pass a piece of flip chart paper to each one of the groups. And what you're going to do with that flip chart paper is you're going to say, okay guys, here's the activity. I want you guys to come up. I want you to talk collectively, and I want you to bullet point out 5 victories or wins or things that we did well or that you thought went well or enjoyed about marching band season already. But then I also want you to tell me what it is that you believe we need to do to make this continue or to make it better. So on the flip chart paper, you can put on the side that says wins, and so they have to list 5 wins. And then next to that win, what do we need to do to continue to make that happen or to make it better? Break them up to teams, have them have that conversation. The reason we're putting it on flip chart paper is that once they've had these wins and these continues, we're going to go around collectively, section to section or group to group, and have them teach us and talk to us and tell us about the wins they discussed and how they plan to continue having those wins or make them even greater. The beautiful thing about this process is it forces them to focus on positive things that they've already experienced, and they have to create and come up with ideas of how to continue to make that happen. There's an old saying, if you've never heard me say it before, people support what people create, and it's no different with students. You see, you've just put them in the creation process of making the rest of the marching band season absolutely extraordinary. Because they're creating it, they're going to own it because now they're invested in it. So once you've gone around that process, hearing everybody, just let everybody teach back, or let somebody from each team teach back what they have as their wins and their continues. The next thing, you want to bring them back together as a band, or you can keep them in sections or groups, whatever you choose to do. But the next question you want to say is, okay, great. So based on what we've talked about, or what you guys have shared with your wins and your continues, what goals do we need to set and write down as a band and keep it to no more than 5? I'd say 4 to 5 collective goals as a band that we need to focus on moving forward. And it's going to come from your wins and your continues. But you don't tell them, let them tell you. People support what people help create. Once you have it written down, post it in the band room where everybody can see it for the remainder of the year. Okay? And so the next thing we want to do is talk about, okay, if those are our goals, what obstacles might we face as a band in achieving those goals? There's a crazy phenomenon that says that if we can anticipate an obstacle, a pitfall, a challenge that we will face, and we get clear in our mind is how we're going to navigate it once it comes up, chances are that you save yourself from a lot of heartache and headache in the moment when it happens, because everybody's like, what do we do? What do we do? But if they have a plan in place that they've created, all of a sudden it makes life easier on you, on them. And so when challenges arise, it doesn't derail your performance. It doesn't derail your rehearsal. The final thing that you want to do in this process, once you've established your frustration, your wins, your goals, and your obstacles, is you want to throw it into the band, or you want to throw it to the band, and simply ask this question. And it's very strategic. Don't ask it any other way. Trust me on this. Ask them, how can I support you guys in reaching your goals? So basically what you're doing is offering support. Don't say, how can I help you guys reach your goals? Because that implies that you're going to take on the responsibility. But if you'll say, how can I support you in reaching your goals? What that implies is, yes, I'm here to help, but I'm going to support what you're doing to reach these goals. And what you're going to find is, whenever you go through this process, is that, again, people support what people help create. They've created a plan. You've facilitated it, but they've created a plan for how they're going to take the wins and the victories that they've already had, continue or make it better. Now, everybody's focused on the same goals because we created them together. We've navigated any potential obstacles that could derail us from hitting our goals. And then finally, you've shown as a leader that you're offering support to help them achieve those goals. This process, the reason it works is because it takes the kids from this mid-semester slump where they're just kind of down and they're not really focused and they're just ready for it to be over. It takes that emotional state that they're feeling and brings it into a logical space. So it takes them out of their emotional brain into their cerebral cortex where it's analytical, and all of a sudden they're coming up with a process. And by doing that, it resets their patterns, resets their minds. And when you cause them to focus on how to win and get them centered on certain goals, again, people support what people help create, but there's a renewal, a recharge, a refocus to where in their hearts they're thinking, you know what, we've got this, we can do this, and here's how we're going to do it. And all of a sudden everybody gets refired, reignited, and recharged because they see the possibilities. Now, I know that was a pretty lengthy teach here, but the process can really go in about 30 minutes, at least in the course of a class, maybe 50 minutes. But the conversations that will come up, you have to give time for, because really, again, when they're owning it, when they're coming up with it, you don't have to go as a band director behind them and constantly try to manage it or get them to do it, because people support what people help create. So I hope that served you. If you have any questions about it or any comments about it, leave it in the comments below. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because every time I send out one of these new videos, you will get it. And please encourage your students to reach out to me with comments, with questions. I'm always here to help, to serve, to make videos. And this is one of the video topics, or the topics that have come up a lot. How do we get through that mid-semester slump? How do we rise above it? And how do we finish strong? And as a result, I'm creating this video for you. So here's what I want to say. I hope you finish the year strong. I hope you're having the best marching band season ever. Stay tuned. I'll send out more videos like this. But until we talk, or I see you again, remember, you can inspire superior performance. You've just got to be willing to help your students take on that servant mindset, let go of what they want, and help other people get what they want from their marching band experience, and you'll have the best marching band season ever. Take care, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.